Maybe you just never think about body composition because your weight has been stable for years. And you've just never considered what adding a little bit of muscle or losing a little bit of fat may do to make you feel different and perform better in your daily life. I will provide you with all of the information you would ever want and more so that you can make big or small changes when you're ready to achieve more and live life fit. And I'll share all of this excellent information with the scientific research to back up all of the concepts that I will tell you about. In my field of nutrient metabolism, exercise physiology, body composition, and performance, also known as performance nutrition, we study how energy is derived from foods and how this energy fuels exercise and human movement. You see, our energy comes from breaking down the food we eat, and we'll talk about that. We also need to talk about dietary supplements and when it's appropriate to incorporate them into your nutrition plan. And once we understand energy intake from foods and drinks, that is, how they are metabolized and used for energy, then we'll talk about energy expenditure, or the energy you use to keep alive and allow you to move and exercise. In the course, we'll study all types of exercise and how intensity and duration influence your body fat and muscle mass. We'll talk about what the caloric cost of exercise really is and what types of exercises are best to burn fat or gain muscle. We'll also look at hormones and how they influence your hunger, exercise, health, and body composition. All of these topics align to let us understand how to change body composition if you choose to, and how to best apply all of the information that we learn from the science of performance nutrition. You know, one interesting thing about exercise and nutrition is that a lot of people believe they are experts on these topics, even if they have little to no formal education or experience. And a quick comparison to other jobs makes this almost funny. Let's say that you're cooking a meal for your family one night. Something distracts you and the dish catches on fire. Luckily, you react quickly and put the fire out. So, are you now a trained firefighter? Of course not. But in the fitness and nutrition fields, I often find that if someone reads a book or watches an infomercial, all of a sudden they feel like an expert. This is taken advantage of way too often. And what's left is an overload of misinformation, half-truths, and lots of myths. We'll discuss these myths in many of the lectures. Recently, a new client of mine told me that he had great nutrition and exercised daily, but that he couldn't lose any weight and he had no energy. After months and months of trying all the popular diets, he'd had zero success. In fact, despite his perfect efforts, he'd actually gained weight over the past year. And what's worse, after a recent checkup, he was told by his doctor that he needed to be placed on blood pressure medication. Unfortunately, this is an extremely common scenario in health, nutrition, and fitness. But how is it even possible to have great nutrition and consistent physical activity patterns and not change weight? Well, for an overweight person, it would be unlikely. But maybe you feel the same way as my client did. No matter what you do, nothing seems to work. By now, we know that nutrition and fitness are two keys to living well. And whether we're talking about lowering your risk for disease, keeping your brain fit, changing your body composition, or just feeling your best, eating well and exercising have to be included. But do you find yourself wondering what nutrition and exercise advice you should listen to? I mean, you've seen the diet and exercise section at the bookstore that's stocked with thousands of guides and self-help DVDs. every magazine on the rack has a headline offering you weight loss advice. And you've probably noticed advertisements on TV, and they're trying to sell you a new device, pill, or potion to help you lose fat. You're probably asking, why are there so many choices? Do any of them work? Well, now imagine that you could easily sift through the mountains of media headlines and infomercials to find the real solution to your weight loss goals. Well, that's my goal for this course. We'll sift through all of the science and bring clear messages about how to change your body composition and what you can really expect. At a corporate seminar I gave recently, a woman stood up and said, "I heard that our metabolism slows as we age. So does it really matter what we do if we're all destined to gain fat and lose muscle?" She believed that her weight gain over the past 15 years was unstoppable, simply due to the consequences of aging. But is it really inevitable? Well, the short answer is no. And in this course, you'll learn why and what you can do about it. The focus of my research over the past 14 years has been to study how nutrition, supplementation, and exercise influence optimal body composition, performance, and health. We'll talk about the evidence for what works and what doesn't from my research and from research that has been published in this field. I need to say here that many of the research studies that we'll discuss have been completed using male subjects. This happens often because the female menstrual cycle induces hormone changes that researchers must control for. So by default, men are typically used as subjects in studies. This is changing though, and when it's possible, I'll discuss sex-specific differences that occur with nutrition and exercise training. But sometimes we just have to use the information we get from men or from women to make the best lifestyle choices we can for ourselves. Many times, data from animals like mice or rats is used initially to later set up human research trials. Animal research has a critical role in the development of the science, but you'll also learn that animals and humans don't always respond identically. The absolute generalizability of some data can only be to a very specific group of people or animals. But again, we have to use the information provided in an attempt to make the most optimal choices we can to provide performance benefits for health and body composition. Luckily, in this field, many common threads have emerged, and I'm going to share those with you throughout the course. I'll cover evidence-based steps to help you increase your metabolism, improve your health, and create the best possible conditions for achieving your optimal body composition. I'll go into detail about ways to change your body fat and muscle mass to meet the goals that you have. It's important for me to say again that this is a no gimmicks type of course. What you'll get are just the facts based on cutting-edge research from my lab and from many other colleagues around the globe. Let's begin by going into what body composition is and why it should be used as your indicator of health instead of body weight. We all get crazy about body weight when the thing we should be talking about is how much muscle and how much fat we have instead. Even on popular weight loss shows, what you don't learn is how much fat versus how much muscle was lost in the process. Any day of the week, I'd take a 2-pound fat loss and a 2-pound gain in muscle. This would improve my body composition, health, and functionality. But it wouldn't change my body weight. We'll also talk about BMI, or body mass index, which is simply your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared, and how it is useful for some situations, but not others. For example, if you are 5'2" and weigh 180 pounds, you're classified as obese according to the body mass index. But this identical BMI can also describe a professional athlete who's 6'2" and 255 pounds. See, the way you hold your weight, that means how much fat and how much muscle you have, contributes a lot to how you look, how you feel, and how you perform. And by perform, I mean this in the context of the real world, not simply performance on an athletic field. To me, improving your performance can happen in your job, with your family, or with the general energy and enthusiasm for life that is true to performance. The nutrition that feeds your body and fuels the physical activity that can change your body composition is also a major component of the science of body composition. We'll discuss everything from how your food is digested, to where it goes in your body, to your cellular function. Because, believe it or not, this matters in a big way. It is directly linked to your health and well-being. It influences your body composition and your energy levels for work, play, and exercise. If you've ever thought about cutting out fat or carbohydrates from your diet, we'll go into that too. I'll detail what carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are and why you should care about them. We'll even cover when a low-carb diet might be best for you and when a high-carb diet might be better. And answer questions like, should I eat fat or not? And is gluten-free the healthiest choice for me? What about calories? Do they matter? You may know a lot about the controversy that surrounds the topic of energy balance. Energy balance is quite simple, really. It's the balance of the calories you take in from foods and beverages, or energy intake, with the calories that you expend, or energy output, for all of your biological processes necessary to live. Things like breathing and thinking, plus those calories you expend from walking around and from exercise. For the most part, we understand that in order to alter body composition, to lose fat, for example, you would want an energy deficit. Just burn more than you take in. But if it were that easy, maybe we wouldn't have the obesity epidemic that we do today. The question becomes, are all calories created equal? For example, if you drink 800 calories from soft drinks, does this do the same thing to your metabolism and body composition as eating 800 calories from broccoli? Well, that's a topic for a bit later when we go into more detail. But we need to understand that the quality of our calories will have as much of an impact on our body composition and overall health as the total number of calories that we eat daily. Other important topics in this field include the best foods to eat before a workout or to recover after a workout, what to do at night before bed, and whether you should eat breakfast or skip it. I'll also talk about some major hormones that influence how we look and feel. I'll also break a few myths along the way. I'll talk about